A lot of persons has begun to criticize Tinubu over his speech on the June 12th celebration. Well, you could recall that Tinubu has called on Nigerians and politicians to allow anybody who is criticizing him and who is calling him names, all sort of words, that is part of what was shaping the Nigeria. Of course, people have called the attention of the president to his words and asked him to be a practical person on what he is saying, making reference to Nnamdi Kanu and the Rivers state of emergency. Well, I'd like you to watch this video and hear what's trending. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I'll be right back.
By discussing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's Democracy Day speech at the National Assembly. Well, on Thursday, the president, while addressing lawmakers, urged Nigeria's security agencies not to harass citizens for criticizing his government, reaffirming his commitment to protecting democratic rights, particularly the right to free speech. The president told Nigerians in his speech that they could call him names, and he will still stand up for democracy to defend citizens' rights to do so. Let's take a look.
Do not be afraid to bear an unkind word spoken against you. Some of the best advice a politician gets sometimes comes from his most ferocious opponents, if they think well, though. We do not seek silence because the imposed silence of repressed voices may breed chaos and ill will. While malicious slander and libel should not go unattended, no one should bear the brunt of injustice for merely writing a bad report about me or call me names. Democracy requires a fair degree of tolerance for harsh words and stinging insults, particularly when they are pained because of their losses. Call me any name. I'm not here to make you happy politically. And I will still call upon democracy to defend your right to do so.
Well, all right, fantastic. I'd like to take a reaction, if you can pull up that reaction. And this person wrote, "That's the spirit of true democracy, where we don't have to agree to coexist. Thank you, Mr. President, for acknowledging every Nigerian's right to speak, even when opinions differ. We'll keep holding on to that freedom as we push for a better Nigeria." I think that's a very positive reaction and good for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to say that, he defends the right to free speech. Well, in that whole address, Tinubu also paid tribute to the heroes of Nigeria's democracy, including MKO Abiola, and highlighted his administration's efforts in economic reform and national security. He urged lawmakers to support his pro-industry and pro-agriculture legislative agenda, stating that he wants to make agriculture sexy by introducing tractors. Vimbai, we saw that story, make agriculture sexy. I love that comment. It did trend all over social media. Meanwhile, a former Bayelsa State Governor, Seriki Dixon, criticized President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Thursday over the emergency rule in Rivers State and the continued suspension of Governor Sim Fubara in celebration of the 26th anniversary of democratic rule. Dixon said the president missed the chance to redeem his government and clear it of wrongdoing, adding that Tinubu cannot celebrate democracy while suppressing it in Rivers State. Let's take a look.
But you cannot be celebrating democracy. You cannot be flaunting yourself as a Democrat on the one hand, and on the other hand, be trampling democracy under your big presidential foot in Rivers State. The president missed a golden opportunity to raise and deepen democracy in Nigeria by restoring on today's Democracy Day democratic and normal civil constitutional rule in Rivers State. Of all the things the president said, the president was silent about Rivers State. And today is about democracy. It's not because of Fubara's nationality. It's not about Fubara's party, if he has any. And these days, you can't even be sure which party people belong to. But these are issues about respecting the democratic rights of the people of Rivers State under the Constitution. So I'm disappointed, firstly, that the president never said a word about the undemocratic developments in Rivers State, which he has enabled, which he has brought about, which he has sanctioned, and which he continues to sustain, and creating an impression as if all is well. No. As long as any part of Nigeria is under military rule, democracy is endangered in Nigeria as a whole.
Rufai, I think Dixon there is on point.
Very, very on point. In fact, more than on point. And we've always said this. President Tinubu claims he's a Democrat. But are some of the things he has done, are they democratic in nature? No. The state of emergency is one, and it's a dark spot. But on the flip side, you still saw Fubara going to visit him and say, Daddy, you're to him. Probably things might panning out, he might return soon. But the fact that that was done in the first place is a blight on this country. Because if I remember correctly, the same President Tinubu did make his voice heard when Olusegun Obasanjo did the same. In fact, the argument then was the reason why Olusegun Obasanjo could do the same was because he had a military past. Then Goodluck Jonathan also did the same, but not at this level of removing the governor. And people argued. And now President Tinubu, that is totally civilian, has also done the same. So, Sierrake Dixon is 100% correct. The next point I'm going to make this morning is also, in as much as I thank the president and I appreciate him for recognizing these people, it's also the loud omissions we saw in that list. I have a lot of people that I'm happy about in that list, the likes of Kiki. And like I told him, I will no longer call him Kayode Komolafe Kiki again. I will call him OON. And anytime I call him that OON, there are implications. That's just it. So OON. So I'm happy about that. But the loud omissions, people like Sowore. Sowore was a man that used his youth to fight for this country and fight for deepening democracy. Sowore is about 54 today, he was about 22 years of age then.
Right.
Where he was fighting. The likes of Dele Momodu that had to run. The likes of Kayode Fayemi, the likes of the entire crew of Kudirat Radio.
Right. Speaking about Sowore, what about his thoughts about, defending free speech? Because, Sowore has been one of those huge critics of this administration. What did you make of the president's comment about the right
the president can talk. There's a difference between speech and action. Oji, I tell you this. Do you know how many cases of journalists that wrote stories that have been put in security gulag that have had to intervene? Is it because we don't come out and say most of these cases in public? That we've had to intervene? That's why a lot of people criticize me and say, Rufai, you don't do anything for this government. They don't know the things I do to repair this government's image in the background. And I will just call those in authority and say, see, if this is come, it's going to be a blight on your administration. So fix it once and for all. Do you know how many I have dealt with? So the president can talk about right to free speech. Are the people working for him, do they listen to what he says? Don't they have their own mindsets? And that's why I put it, do you know how many I said, please, if this gets out, you will not like the blight on your administration. So please, the president can say, what do you expect him to say? He will say, you can abuse me all you want. But it's in the implementation, like they say, the taste of the pudding is in the eating.
It's in the eating. Well, all right.
So it's not just about saying, he's standing up tall. And that's why we stand up against the president when the state of emergency thing happened. The likes of Dele Momodu, the likes of Baba Femi Ojodu. Yes, some people argue that he had been given national honor before, but these are people that should be appreciated. I will also say to Egbobayo Onanuga
we have a section for that.
A big congratulations to Egbobayo Onanuga because he truly deserves it. Egbobayo Onanuga suffered for democracy in this country, and I give him his honor. It doesn't mean I don't disagree with him when it's time. But congrats, sir.